How are you all? Good. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it a lot because it's a beautiful day. I was actually hoping for rain, so you have no reason not to come. But thank you very much for coming. We're ready. It's Education Town Hall for Clarksburg, Germantown area and Damascus area. I'm Ed Amatetti. I'm running for District 2 County Council in Montgomery County, which is Upper County. It includes Damascus, Germantown, Clarksburg, parts of North Potomac, Boyd. That's pretty much the main areas. Today, we're not going to be doing fire and brimstone, political fire and brimstone. I want to have a deliberate conversation about education. We're going to start with a presentation, then all of you can come up and ask questions or make comments or challenge any things that I've said today, and that would be great. I'm considering this kind of as a model for the way I would represent people in Montgomery County. I want to get together with people. I want to see each other. I want you guys to be informed. I want to be informed by what you're thinking about going on about what's going on in your neighborhood, and I want you guys to become involved in policy from the very beginning, not when they're holding hearings and it's too late and you're screaming at everybody at the hearing and you can't make changes anyway. A little bit about my background, and it'll be mostly about the education part, but I have an MBA in finance, spent 15 or so years as a management consulting where I did work for local governments like Cleveland and Providence and Boynton Beach and Contra Costa County and things like that, where I would help go in and do an operational audit so they can come out and be working more efficiently for their constituents. A lot of these cities were having financial difficulty like Cleveland, and they were really looking forward to what we could do to cut costs and keep services where they were. Started a second career around the year 2000 or so in education. I've been a teacher in middle school and high school. I've been involved in school administration, but maybe more importantly, I've been involved in education reform for the better part of 3 decades. And so, even as an exec director of an education nonprofit, I've had the opportunity to observe hundreds of schools across many states and see what works, what doesn't work, and I hope all that I can talk about. My philosophy in education, if I had to do it in as few words as I can, I would say 2 things. One is children are able to learn at a much faster rate than we give them credit for, and too many of us don't take advantage of this potential. Number 2, I believe that in all human endeavors, if you have a variety of approaches and more things going on, and you give more power to the stakeholders in education, that's primarily the teachers and the students and the parents, you have better outcomes. So those are my biases, so that you know that. The presentation today will be 2 parts, presentation and then the public forum. The presentation part will be performance data. I want to show you what's really going on in our schools. I want to talk about policies that are pressuring performance. Those are my opinions. And we can talk about that. You can challenge or not. And ways to improve schools, our schools. And then we can do the public forum. Let's start. This is data to compare Maryland to the rest of the country. Let me talk about data very quickly. There are problems with all data. What's the best measure? What are the best scores? Are scores the best measure? Because there's important qualitative factors in what makes a good school. Individual preferences is important. What I did is I took the National Association of Education Progress data and chose that for 4 reasons. 1, it's been around for 30 years. It's administered by the Department of Education. It started in 1970, and every 3 years, every subject at every grade level is tested among all the states. It got the name Nation's Report Card. If you've ever heard of those terms, this is what the Nation's Report Card was. And it is the only continuous data we have going over many years so that we can say, are we getting better or worse? It's the only one where every state is involved, so you can actually compare states. It's one where you can't really teach to it. So when you think of PARC, and we'll get into that later, which is what Maryland's doing tied to Common Core 2.0, you can slowly make improvements as you teach your teachers to teach to the test. This is not as easy to do. And it goes into, and it talks about proficiency. It goes through a whole range of subjects: science, history, technology, civics. I'm pulling out math grade 4, math grade 8, reading 4, and reading 8. And the percentages are proficiency. And you will see that the national average is 39, 36, 35, 33 in the second column, and Maryland is 40, 35, 37, 37. What we are is average. We're not statistically different from averages, the way NAEP says, except for reading 8, where we're slightly above average statistically. The best in the country, you can see in the third column, 54, 51, 50, 45. Those are Massachusetts, 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 and Vermont. And you can see our rank, 18 through 29. That's about average. That's going to surprise a lot of people, I think, in the audience. So I want to talk about trend, and maybe the most important thing on this graph is the asterisk. The asterisk is because for the 2016 NAEP found that we were not doing the data correctly. Maryland was not doing it correctly. It wasn't including as many farms and special ed as all the other states. So they forced us to recalculate, so our rankings fell significantly. This may be why so many people think we're one of the best in the country, and it hasn't been for a very long time. What it also means is, I don't think we can say definitively how we're trending. I think the data is too ruined, but at least you get